So my friends, you had it. Anything from 5,000 to, I'm gonna take 15. And the reason why I'm taking 15 is because I paid 15. But Pateka said up to 12, so maybe she's giving me a discount. But at the time of recording, my friends, that is the cost of setting up, not running it, just setting it up so that you can have a trust, right? Now that you understand this person, it would have been easier if Pateka just said 15,000, eh? But she didn't. Okay, she gave you context, and that's important to give context, right? Now we're running the trusts.
Yes.
What are the operational costs that you have seen other people run? And in the past, or should I say, because I have a trust, I can chip in, I think, maybe as we talk, of some of the running costs that I've seen. But from a legal perspective, once the trust is set up, what are some of the other costs that the individual may incur whilst running it?
Whilst running the trust. Okay, firstly, because you mentioned earlier that either you have one or two trusts.
Yes.
So I would say, let me make a reference to two trusts, which is a family trust and a business trust.
Okay.
And also it depends, because remember the requirement on registering family trusts is to have an independent trustee. So
Right.
that's one of the operating costs that you will have in your trust.
You mentioned it's a requirement.
Yes.
Is it by law?
It
or
is by law.
Is it a good practice?
It is by law, so
Yeah.
that they can what do you call it now? It
Govern properly.
to govern properly,
Yeah.
To govern properly, yes. That's
Because now I
what
put
I'm
my
looking for.
brother and my
Yes,
uncle,
yes.
I'm gone, they do what they want.
Exactly.
But an independent trustee.
Trustee is that is why the requirement of that person, it must not be someone, or she or he must not be someone related to you by blood.
Right.
So because that person must be independent. So that is why most of the time I usually say or suggest to clients that either it can be a colleague or it can be a trusted friend, whoever that you think or you're comfortable appointing, that you know that will be able to carry your vision. Because at the end of the day, you don't want that situation where someone is when you are no more and then he's going to be running this whole thing like it's something else. Because remember, trustees are given more powers in the trust deed. So you don't want them to be doing so. It's important to know who you are appointing as your independent trustee. Hence, a lot of people are appointing accountants as well as attorneys.
So the reason why I have kept my independent trustee is a professional person. So I've got an attorney, and this attorney, she's not just an attorney, she's also a practicing attorney, but she also runs businesses, and besides running a business, she also does property. I have been intentional in my relationship with her now. She's good friends with my family and things like that. She knows my kids very well. And outside of that, the reason why I appointed her is because, number one, she's an attorney, and the other reasons that I've just mentioned now. But the bigger reason for me is that there is a bigger power behind her, which is the Law Society. Is it called this?
Yes.
Still the Law Society?
It's the Legal Practice Council.
Okay, change the name now,
Yes.
right? And if anything is to happen, my surviving individuals or my family members now who are beneficiaries, if anything is to go wrong, they have a bigger brother to go and complain to. And that bigger power can then look into this individual to say, are they practicing correctly or not? And for me, an accountant and a lawyer, I think those are people that are good to be independent trustees.
To be independent trustees, I fully agree with you there. And then also, I think because you can appoint your colleague or you can appoint your trusted friend, but then what if they don't understand law?
Right. So then you are stuck.
Yeah.
Right. So at average, how much do these independent trustee costs?
You know,
100 rand,
independent
200?
trustee, they differ also.
Right.
Because some, obviously your colleague or your trusted friend might not charge you, or they might charge you depending.
No particular. They would say no cost, ne? when they don't understand that they need to sign documents,
Exactly.
they need to have meetings.
And also they need to comply with FICA.
Right. And only later on they start realizing these things, they start coming up and say, I'm spending a lot of time on this thing. Then they start charging.
True.
But that also becomes an uncomfortable conversation.
It becomes an
say it-
uncomfortable, and also I think people need to understand in the trust deed there is a provision for payment of anything that a trustee did on behalf of the trust that is on a professional
Right.
level. Because if, for example, I have to do something on a professional level for a trustee, I am at least allowed to issue an invoice. So with regards to the fees for independent trustee, some they would rather not charge you a yearly fee. Maybe they will charge you pay whatever transaction they do on behalf of the trust. Some they charge you a yearly fee. Just like if I am appointed as an independent trustee, I'll rather charge you an annual fee, knowing for a fact that whatever it is that you want that needs to be done in the trust, then I can be able to do it for you without charging an extra fee.
So it's kind of like a retainer fee.
It's
right?
it's like a retainer fee.
What is so at average per taker? Give us a number.
You know what? I think a lot of some they charge 5,000 rand
For
annual
the
fee
year.
for the year. Some they charge 4.5, 3.5. It depends, because remember again the fee depends on what is it that is going to be happening. Because if there's no
Right.
activity in the trust, like I have trust that I am the independent trustee and there's no activity there, and there's no point in me charging anything, because like what am I going to be charging for if there's
Sure.
nothing happening? So it also depends on the bigger portfolio of the person
Okay.
or the size of the portfolio.
Because I have trust myself, I'm going to tell you what's happening in my trust. So my independent trustee, that is operational cost number one, which is the independent trustee. I don't pay anything to my independent trustee. However, I do pay them for certain things, like for instance, if we have to have a meeting, they'll say to me, TJ, I'll charge you 200 to come to the meeting. If we have to do a resolution, they'll say, TJ, I'm happy to do the resolution at 100 Rand, signing and getting the context.
Yes.
So I don't pay anything for them to be an independent trustees, but when I'm asking them to do certain things, and I think it's just fair, it's their time, and I pay for that, and I'm comfortable in paying for that. But I've also started seeing other things that other businesses that have started coming up with this individual, and all of a sudden this fees now has gone away because the other business that we're doing is far much greater. So what am I saying? Create good relationship with people. You may not need to pay some money, but pay for the services. But that was number one. If you're in property investment, at some point or the other, you've had to evict someone. And I know, my friends, it is a painful exercise. But I'm here to tell you that for the last couple of years, I've been using a company that is called Expello. Expello, basically what they do is that you pay them a monthly fee, and over and above that, whenever you get a delinquent tenant, they will come and evict that individual free of charge, because obviously you've been paying, right? And over and above that, you don't have to do anything. But guess what? I have managed to organize a good price for you. And the link here that you're seeing, which is called expello.link./TJ Tribe, gets you a great discount from Expello. So my friends, don't be caught with your pants down on your tenant. Just Expello them with Expello. It is TJ. Let's go back to the video. What is the other one that you know that when running your trust?
When running a trust, we have your bank account, because the bank account
yes.
must be opened, and obviously the bank account has got its own fees, that is the bank fees. Depending on which bank, I can't confirm how much the bank charges, but there's going to be those bank fees. And
at
then
the time of recording, Pateka, just to bring you in, I think FNB and ABSA, they have business accounts that are on zero 0 fees at the moment.
Yeah.
But do your homework. We're just giving you some advice to say,
Thank you for that,
Yeah.
because I also didn't know, but yeah, now I know.
right, yes,
Thank you
thank
for-
you, TJ. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, TJ.
Yeah, all right, awesome stuff. Besides those two particular, what else have you seen?
There's an accountant to be appointed in a trust.
Right,
So that accountant, remember a trust is an entity.
yes.
So there is SARS. So you need to register the trust for tax. The trust needs to have an income tax number.
Ooh, you've just lost the people. They're like, aye, Pateka, no, we're not doing this. There is SARS in here. My friends, you're running a business, ne?
True.
You need to do everything above board. So, just like you have a tax number, your trust needs also to have a tax number. Finish and plan. Ne?
Yeah.
But don't worry, there's nothing running in your in your trust, so there is no tax to pay. But the number is still required. It's a requirement, right?
Yeah, it is a requirement, and also the accountant needs to submit, whether he's submitting nil balance,
Right.
returns, or whatever. So he might charge you a fee for doing so.
Okay. So Pateka brings in a very important conversation here, where she says an accountant needs to be appointed. Again, I'm telling you what I am doing, and I am hanging out with people like Pateka, so they're keeping me in line. I have an accountant in my trust. There is no transactions in my trust because my trust owns my business 100%. So which means that in my trust, there is nothing that is operationally running there, right? But we are registered at SARS. Over and above that, every year my accountant submits a 0 turnover because there is no money coming through into that trust. And everywhere, what is 0 tax on 0 income? It's 0, ne? There you go, my friends. So you're not paying anything, but we need to be compliant, right? I think we should also add on something whilst we're talking about the accountant. The accountant fees.
Yes.
Because once you have appointed him, people think that you're just appointing an accountant. You need to pay the accountant.
Yes, you need to pay the accountant, but they also differ.
Sure.
Because some accountants also depending on the type of the person that you appoint. Hence, I'm going back to your, you just mentioned now that you need to make a good relationship.
Right.
Have a good relationship with your people that are going to be part of your structuring, so that you can have a good relationship with your attorney, good relationship with your accountant. So accountant, if there's nothing happening in the trust, they might say, okay, just maybe charge you a fee to open a file, and then just to keep everything on track, and that's ensuring that your trust is registered for income tax, and then maybe there's nothing yet happening in the trust, and for them there's nothing to charge besides charging you for submitting your income tax nil returns. So other than that, I don't know if they do charge a certain annual fee or whatever fee. I don't know, but I do know that for whatever else that they might do on behalf of the trust, they might issue an invoice for that.
My accountant, what she has done for me is that because she's looking after my business, the same business that this trust is owning 100%,
Yeah.
she says to me, TJ, I'll take the combo. So she didn't separate the two.
Okay.
So she is running in my business. That's when we have high volumes of transactions and money is coming in. And she's looking after that company, doing all the taxes within that. And then she also said to me, TJ, it's 2,500 a month, right? I'm just throwing out a number here. But it will also include the trust,
The
because
trust.
there's nothing happening in the trust.
Yes.
And again, that's from a relationship perspective.
Yes.
But I can't be using accountant John Skuman on my company, and then I go to Susan Van Brack to my trust. They don't even know me. They will charge me, and I'm in the leg.
True.
Yeah.
No, that is correct, because again, hence we are mentioning the fact that you need to have a good relationship with
Right.
whatever that you are appointing. It's the same thing as appointing an independent trustee. Don't just appoint just because a person happened to be a lawyer or a person happened to be an accountant. Appoint someone that you know that this person will be able to carry my vision.
Amazing stuff. My good friends, I think at a high level, these are some of your operational costs that you have. For me, the one thing that we haven't spoken about is that in my trust, I do have my life, I don't want to say my life policy. I want to say that the trust has covered me. So the trust is going to take over a life cover upon my life and my wife, and basically the beneficiaries of that is of the trust. In the event that I'm gone, now there's some money that has come through into this trust. It basically means now there's transactions running. But for the meantime, zero cost, so there's really nothing much to do. But I need to cater for that income and the expenses of running that for tomorrow. If you do have any questions, my friends, let me know in the comments. But I'm hoping that within this videos or two-part videos that we've just done now, you've been able to understand the cost of running your trust. Pareka, I want to mention something at the end of this video. People always ask me, what is the cost of doing this? My standard question, normally I don't give prices. I ask the question, what is the cost of not doing it?
Yeah, the cost of not doing it is one. You're going to pay a high amount because remember when we do structuring, we say you move assets from your personal capacity to your trust. And then in doing so, don't just move them in an estate planning structure.
Yeah.
So estate planning structure then means that try and avoid paying too much tax upon your death.
Right.
Where there's executors, there's estate duties and all of that. Try and do that. And also we're saying should you have a bigger portfolio, the trust allows you to use what we call a conduit principle. That's when you move the tax burden from the trust. As you know, that trust is taxed at 45%. You're moving that tax burden from the trust to your beneficiaries. That is the conduit principle. It allows you to do that. It saves you also cost there. And then again, we want a situation where if someone passes on, it must be as if that person is still alive, because that person has structured his or her estate properly. That is why when we register a trust, we ask you about how many kids you have, how many wives you have, all those kind of things, so that we can cater for this, so that no one is going to be stressed upon your death about your portfolio. So at least they must be stressed about you not being with them anymore, so that at least they know that everything, all their accounts, nothing is going to be frozen and nothing is going to be waiting for the winding up of the estate. There must just be minimum of assets under your name, maybe your car only, and then you know that everything else is under that trust. So we're trying to avoid those costs because those are higher costs for not having. And also try and save your family from having complications. Because should you not structure your things properly or your estate properly, then it means that if you have, let's say, baby mamas, and then baby mamas, again, that's one thing that a lot of our clients do not understand, that should a father pass on, every child, whether he's coming from 5 baby mamas, they have a right to inherit from their biological father. So those baby mamas will come forward to have claims for their children if there is no will. So if there is a will, then at least it's better. But if there is no will, then it creates a certain complication, because the surviving spouse has to deal with everything else that is surrounding her, something that was not happening during your lifetime. So I think more than anything, it's estate planning, where you know that you have structured your things properly prior to your passing, and you know for a fact that you already know who's getting what or who's who in your portfolio.
Amazing stuff, my friend. That was Pateka from PPM Attorneys, and she, besides helping me, she's available to help you as well. And you can reach her out. They've got a website, PPM, and you can reach out to them, and you can also you can save on all of this that we're talking about, and you can secure your future. Until we see each other again, it is I, your boy, TJ. Boom, boom.